to 24. Coach, this a difficult loss for a Blazers team that, again, as we talk about being on the outside looking into the playoff picture, each and every one of these seeding games important.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. They came out, they beat Memphis the other day. But, Memphis isn't winning, so they just got to hang in there. The team you got to worry about right now is San Antonio sneaking up on them. Tough loss. Celtics needed this one. Needed Tatum to bounce back, which he did. And like I said, those three guys up front are all good for the Celtics when they're playing well. And Q made a good point. Like, when you take a lot of jumpers and do a lot of shots like he did when he played with the Suns, you can go way up and you can let teams back in. And right now, I see a lot of that with the Celtics, and I'm interested to see them play in tighter games when there's just not this whole free-flowing thing going up and down the floor.
Well, let's hear from Jaylen Brown with Lisa Salters after the game.
It was an intense game. It was a lot closer than I would have liked it to be, but credit to Portland. They're trying to fight to make the playoffs, and in that second half, they really came out and play like they wanted to.
Yeah, you guys were up big. You had a 24-point lead. They made a run, took the lead. How were you able to snatch it back from them?
Just coming out and playing hard, making big stops down the line. This is a good test for us. We got to continue to get better while we're down here, and Portland was a good challenge.
And 16 points for you in the fourth quarter. What does it feel like to be in a zone like that when the game is on the line?
To be honest, I'm just glad we got the win. To be honest, it feels better. It'll feel better if we kind of end systemic oppression and we continue to push the agenda. And Breonna Taylor's murderers, they get thrown in jail. I think it'll feel better for that.
And Jaylen combined with his teammate, Jason Tatum, for 64 points, by the way. It's time for the winning performance, fueled by Gatorade. Q, we talked about him. 21 points in that first half alone. We're talking about Tatum here. 15 in the second quarter, finished with 34 points and 8 assists in this game. Apart from the obvious, the haircut, what is working so well?
Man, I think the kid is just he's coming into his own right now as a superstar in this league, man. He has the confidence, he has all the ability in the world. And I think now we're just seeing that, with the moves that they made, with Kyrie going to Brooklyn and the top spot kind of opening up, so to speak, he's just growing and seizing that moment, man, and becoming that superstar that everybody sees him being able to become.
Coach, you mentioned that the Celtics...
Q, I think just to add on real quick to that, it's the 8 assists that impressed me. The kid could always score. He has a good handle. But you know what? He's got to become a playmaker. He's going to draw two a lot now. He's getting good enough. You just can't single cover him, especially the way with team switch. Like, there are a lot of times you have a center on him. Everybody's switch happy in our league right now. And Tatum's just too good off the handle, can get his own shot. They're going to start running people at him. And when they run people at him, you still got to make plays. You got to initiate the right pass to get the ball moving, to get your teammates open. I like the 8 assists. Big time for that young man.
Coach, you also mentioned that this was a must-win game for the Celtics. So you said that they needed this win. Why did it seem that way to you?
Yeah, you know what? They didn't play well. Your best player throws a twofer at you, and you don't really play that well. You just need to get there's 6 more games before the playoffs start. They're going to have a tough first-round matchup, but they're going to have a tough second-round matchup. I mean, third round, they get to the conference finals. I mean, look at Milwaukee's probably staring right at you. You've got to be ready to go right now. So there's not this warm-up period. This isn't a typical late October, November period where you can say, hey, I'm going to get in shape. Playoffs start in 6 months. Playoffs start in a few days. Yeah. So they need to get going. I can't emphasize enough being in great shape and playing well going in to that playoff, because I think you'll see upsets. I think you'll see a lot of interesting things happening in these playoffs because it's such a different format for everybody.
Well, like the Blazers, the Spurs and Grizzlies are also competing for that final playoff position in the Western Conference. Spurs coach Greg Popovich once again standing for the national anthem as the Spurs take on the Grizzlies, and the Spurs would lead the way by 5 at the half here into the third quarter. It was a lot of the younger guys that were keeping the Grizzlies in this one, Q.
Those are young legs right there. That's what you call that.
Remember
young
those?
legs. I do. About 20 years ago, I did something similar to that
long.
one time.
Get out of here. Coach DeJounte Murray, though, helping the Spurs pull away in this one. He had 21 points and 10 rebounds.
You know what? His mid-range game, he pulled up. I saw him make 4 or 5 free throw line jumpers. They backed off him, and he did a nice job. Ja Morant, it's really fun for me to watch him. I was one of my favorite young players in this league. But I tell you what, nice pass, nice. I like the bigs running. You know, you have tandem bigs running. You get so much stuff at the hole. But you just are not going to out-execute Greg Popovich's teams. And the Memphis has got to get up and down and run more. It's so hard to beat that San Antonio team in just a straight half-court game.
There's Morant yet again with 25 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. Jaren Jackson Jr. with the corner 3. Then here, late in this game, DeMar DeRozan with some dribbling.
Tough right there. That's so tough.
Step-back jumper. Now with the Spurs up 3 late, DeMar with a chance to ice it at the line, misses the first, misses the second, and the Grizzlies get it. So on the ensuing Grizz possession, Grayson Allen to Jaren Jackson Jr., a 3-pointer to tie the game. That'll do it.
Rudy Gay, what more can I do besides foul?
Nothing. Hey, Q, how good can Jaren Jackson Jr. be? How good can that kid get? I really like that.
I think the sky's the limit for him, man. I'm along with you. I'm a huge fan of Jaren Jackson Jr. and as well as Ja Morant as a young and up-and-coming duo that's going to be exciting, hopefully, for many years to come. But those guys have great talent, and they seem to have great chemistry together. So I'm excited about those two growing together.
That last chance for the Grizzlies, Jaren couldn't get that one to fall, but the Spurs do hang on 108-106. And I've been told that there's a funny Pop-related tweet. Let's see here. What do we got here? Ha! Pop coming for that 8 seed.
That's good right there.
They're not wrong,
chasing
like
it down.
you said, Coach.
They're getting closer.
Yeah, and it's tough to out-execute a Spurs team, a team that, again, just does the same thing consistently,
the only
season
thing
after season.
I have to say, the only thing I would have to say, if they could have changed that meme to like Michael Myers or something, or Jason, because I don't see Pop running really fast. I see him that's what the Spurs do. They trot along the whole time,
fast.
Stay behind the scenes, and you look up, and now they're in the playoffs, so now they're in a good position to win or something. So I wouldn't really I could see him strolling along pretty slowly.
Having seen what we've seen just from these first few days down in the Orlando bubble, but knowing that, Coach, like you said, there are not that many days before the playoffs start, who do you see as the biggest threat to the Grizz in that 8 spot?
6 games. The biggest threat to the Grizz right now appear to be the Grizz.
Yeah.
They got to win a game. I mean, you can't. You got to win some games, man. I mean, they came in. They were playing really well when the season was shut down, and I really liked what they were doing. And they haven't, they've been okay in these 2 games, but they haven't played that well. They got to win some games. Look at San Antonio's right there. Portland. That play-in game is going to be interesting. And man, I'll tell you what. San Antonio wins that next game, and the Spurs and Memphis drops one. Yeah. Everything changes. All of a sudden, now you're tied in the loss column, and so it's right now. I see San Antonio and Portland. Really, I think that's it. New Orleans is not going to do anything in Sacramento or Phoenix, but those 2, Portland and San Antonio, are going to really fight Memphis for that 8 spot in that play-in game.
And I love that you brought that up, because I think that's a really fun conversation, talking about who could potentially in 1 game or 2 games be the team that says, you know what, this 8 seed is ours. Q, when you look at it that way, who do you think that if that play-in playoff is triggered with the 4-game differential between 8 and 9, who would you be most concerned about?
Man, for me, I'm going to say Portland. I love San Antonio and what they are doing, but I think if it comes down and it's right there and it comes down to a 1-game scenario, I'm not going against Damian Lillard. Dame, like I said, I feel like he's moved himself into the conversation as if he is the top point guard, the best point guard. He's definitely in that conversation for me, and he's proven that he can send you home by himself. 1 shot to send the whole series home. Or he could just have a big enough game. He's one of those guys who can score 50, and he seems to rise to the moment. So I feel like if they get in a situation where they have a 1-game chance to win it, I got to go with Dame Lillard.
It'd be fun.
And we talked about this a little bit, Q. Nurkic playing through him at the top of the key, up to the 3-point line. He can pass the ball. And C.J. McCollum's got the ability to get really hot, too. They're a dangerous team. I agree. I think, San Antonio
Collins is back. Zach Collins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And San Antonio is more methodical, but Portland is very explosive, especially, like you say, with their 2 big backs. Forgot about that Collins. Yeah, you got both big guys back, Nurkic and him.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk more about this 6-game Sunday in the NBA, including, I think, what has to be the most highly anticipated matchup of the evening, the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Houston Rockets. And when Giannis does this, guys, he's difficult, if not impossible, to stop.